find it? How do you spell big father? You don't mind one on?
Yes. Google check it out.
See how we go on this machine.
Thank
Mongol Bhumi de Boashiachi, Harmonium Banga, and Geo Bajata Banana. Mongol Bhumi de Yachi, Kioche. Shastri Pandit. Mandeyaham Shri Guru, Shri Daparakamanam, Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shah, Shri Rupam Shagaradam Sagaranatam Vidam Tam Shajivam Shatvaitam Savadam Parijana Shaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shikishakam Vitanishcha Mantra Guru Ajokta Shika Guru Ganta Chorane Yagi Goriya Bandhan Banchakal Vishta Vasan Vishnu Parai Krishna Swati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaudavani Prachani Nirvisheshashanavani Prashtutade Shatarinai. Some things you remember from yesterday? Sundara Gopi.
So yesterday we saw how Krishna, he left Hastinapur, and by coming out from Hastinapur, how everybody greeted him, and he also offered obeisances to Yudhishthira. He bowed down to him according to the custom. He did not consider himself to be like the supreme and all. That is one.
What do you remember from yesterday? Devo.
There was the position of March Yudhishthira, and how basically he's able to be like a leader in terms of being more elevated than sort of a position of an impersonalist in the position of a government, being a king following the Vedic rules and regulations.
Interesting.
Makes him
Interesting.
more, not only trustworthy, but gives the civilization under his guidance a sense of direction which the local government would not be able to provide.
Yeah. Chapter 10, Canto 1. What do you remember from that? Rashamoy.
Prabhu, in that, how Maharaj Yudhishthira was ruling, all the valuable stones were there, and then enough supply, all fruits, flowers were there, and cows were, the milk was dripping actually. So these were some of the qualities how he ruled the kingdom.
Yeah.
Everybody was happy.
Yeah.
So two things. One is about the shyness of women, how it enhances the beauty, and it's a main principle of not intermixing of genders even in our society. Second is about dhamvas, the potency of staying in that dham, how everything is exemplified.
Yeah. Deva, something else yesterday?
I feel like one of the main points was about the rasas of Parikya and Swakya, to be able to distinguish the difference, because there's the wedded love and there's the conjugal love, which is like the essence of prema, of Krishna consciousness. That's what we're aiming for. And in order for us to understand how Krishna can have a relationship with the gopis, but he's in a position where he's allowed to be transmoral, whereas other people who are not in a position to understand the relationship will just see it as he's being immoral. But
Interesting. Sundara Gopi, something else? 10th chapter.
So how he accepted 16,000 ladies from Bhaumasura's capture, who were captive in Bhaumasura, just because they prayed for him for protection, and he's always ready to protect. It may be 16,000, 16 million, any number. It's not. He will always give his protection to surrendered devotees.
Today we're looking at chapter 11. Some of the things we were discussing yesterday, that those spontaneous glorification of the ladies of Hastinapura was more pleasing to the Lord than the hymns of the Vedas. Yeah, regarding the Holy Name, Krishna's conjugal love, relationships. They were talking about it. The ladies in Hastinapura were talking about the relationship with the gopis and the queens. and Dwarka. Okay, we're looking at chapter 11 now. So Krishna enters into Dwarka, blows his conch shell, and that gives so much relief to all the Dwarkavasis just hearing the conch shell. Now it's been some time, Krishna's been away for some time, at least several months at least. Kurukshetra battle, even before that there was some, Krishna was moving around in the diplomatic circles, so he'd been away from Dwarka for some time. You know, the incident there, Duryodhana and Arjun, they went to Dwarka, saw Krishna. So from that time onwards, Krishna's been away from Dwarka. So several months, maybe at least 3-4 months, if not more. And it's a great relief, citizens. We'll hear a description of Dwarka Dham. Lord accepts the prayers and the glorification of the residents who all come out to see him. And then he begins, Krishna entering the city and begin to reciprocate, exchanging affection. And then again he goes right in, visits the palaces of the wives. And we'll look in detail about relationship of the Dwarka Ranis. We'll look at that today. This is text 1. Someone like to read the translation there on the slide?
Sutta Goswami said, upon reaching the border of his most prosperous metropolis, known as the country of the Anarthas Dwarka, the Lord sounded his auspicious conch shell, heralding his arrival and apparently pacifying the dejection of the inhabitants.
How about that? Now there's a painting on this topic. Krishna's arrival in Dwarka. Early painting is from Prabhupada's time, that painting, Los Angeles PBT. Now Prabhupada's commenting in the purport, please read. Listen to Prabhupada's poetry.
The white and fat bowled conch shell, being gripped by the hand of Lord Krishna and sounded by him, appeared to be radiant by the touch of his transcendental lips. It seemed that a white swan was playing in the stream of red lotus flowers.
What an analogy, huh? That the white conch shell is appearing reddish because it's touching Lord Krishna's reddish lotus feet, reddish lotus lips. And when they heard that, the gopis they began, Prabhupada's describing how the gopis were thinking about Krishna. He would go into the forest, the gopis were thinking about him, he would arrive back. So the residents of Vrindavan, like that feeling of separation, they were running toward him. Prabhupada comments that the sound of the conch shell is non-different from the Lord himself. And it dissipated the fear. Which are Prabhupada comments there that the ahanidrabhai maitun, shamana etat pashabinaranam, the requirements, the necessities of both beasts and humans. Samana etat pashabinaranam, beasts and humans. Aha nidra bhai maitun. Aha, eating, nidra, sleeping, bhai, defending, maitun, mating. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Prabhupada sometimes describes eating, sleeping, mating. Aha, eating, nidra, sleep, bhai, defending, maitun. Which one gives us most trouble?
Right.
Fear.
Right.
Why is that?
This material light is said that padam. So every moment.
Oh, okay, yeah. Why fear?
Because other things you can at least, you tolerate it. But fear is, it is beyond our capacity to tolerate. Because sleep and all, if you don't sleep, you can still be awake and it will trouble, but not to that extent.
Some
I-
personal sharing with us, some personal experience, Sundara.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I don't get to sleep. I mean, it troubles me. I cannot do my daily work properly, but I'm not like, anxiety. But fear gives me like, if my child is sick or something, then I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen? It really like, and by nature we are all blissful. We are not supposed to be in fear.
My understanding, fear is emotion because fear means for the body, not for the soul. We are concept of the body. We are coming as a fear. That means we are not considered we are soul. That's my understanding.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, the others, they come and go. Aha, you're hungry occasionally. Nidra, you're not tired all the time. You're not hungry all the time. And then mating also is not meant some people all the time, but it's not meant to be all the time. But the fear, we become accustomed to fear. It's like default setting, a default setting. Always we're afraid. But we just become accustomed to that. We just think it's life, but always we're afraid. Just like years ago we used to travel by train in India. Now, go by Indigo, flights are cheaper. We used to go travel by train. You've had experience traveling on train in India?
Yes.
So you're lying on a sleeper, it's a night, you wake up in the middle of the night, what's the first thing you think of? Luggage.
That's true.
First thing you think of, you wake up, you're not thinking of luggage all the time, but actually you are. But when you're going from that stage of sleep to wakefulness, you kind of go through then. It's kind of like, the programs they get installed on you, like on your, one after another starts running. So immediately the fear one starts running as soon as you wake up. They're on the station there, the train's about to start, and they make business. They're coming along with the chain and the lock, ching, 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 ching. We're always in fear. We're always afraid. And the other things, the fear is default setting, always there. So let's read verses 9 to 10. Oh, this is coming here. I'm coming to conclude this. Listen to Prabhupada's poetry here. Please read.
By ardent love and devotional service to Lord, or in other words, by spiritual contact with the Lord, everything becomes spiritually reddened like the conch in the grip of the Lord. The Paramahamsa, or the supremely intelligent person, plays the part of the duckling swan in the water of spiritual bliss, eternally decorated by the lotus flower of the Lord's feet.
This is very poetic. Prabhupada is very poetic. He's actually, there's an analogy there in the text, that the conch shell becomes reddish. And then Prabhupada says this beautiful poetry. How often you hear this quoted? It's so, Prabhupada's poetic. Paramahamsas are like swans dipping into the ponds, the lakes with the reddish lotus flowers. So poetic. Prabhupada's so poetic. So let's read verses. Prabhupada studied in England, when maybe we go to Kolkata, we think Scottish Church College, we're not so impressed. But at the time when Prabhupada, that was the two prestigious colleges in Kolkata, Presidency and Scottish Church College. They're arts colleges. That's why you never hear about them, because now it's just IT Kolkata, IT Bangalore, IT Mumbai. Who does arts in India? Who does arts? People, maybe they can't add up to 1 in 10. They just put them to study arts. Studies arts in English. In India, arts? Nobody. It's engineering or medicine. Arts. Language, history, arts. I studied arts at college. It's not in India, people. Arts. Prabhupada went as arts college. It was language, Sanskrit, English literature. Prabhupada studied English and English literature. There's a difference. English and English literature is a difference. English literature means you study the works of English writing. English literary works. Prabhupada studied Macbeth, The Merchant of Venice, Shakespeare. Prabhupada studied. Prabhupada one time, Shrutikirti is telling us, he said he told the whole story of The Merchant of Venice. Prabhupada quotes from Shakespeare, "To err is human." Oh, that's not Shakespeare. He quotes from Shakespeare. What was that one? "Discretion is the better part of valor." Prabhupada quotes Shakespeare. So Prabhupada was learning, and Kolkata at the time, the jewel of the East, the second most important city in the British Empire, the second most important city in the world, was Kolkata. When Prabhupada was born there. Second most important city in the world. New York at that time it was just like a developing, wharf, harbour in 1900. The immigrants were just going. Kolkata, second most important city in the world when Prabhupada was born there.
Why is that?
Hmm?
Why is that?
It was the second most important city in the British Empire.
What made it so important?
The wealth of India.
So the hub of India's wealth was in Calcutta.
Yeah, everything was in Kolkata.
But what was actually there?
It was the Rajdhani. It was the capital of India in the time of the British. British Raj capital was in Kolkata. Raj Bhavan.
Everything was there.
Raj Bhavan. The British were running India they were running their whole Eastern Empire from Kolkata. All Singapore, China, all that was all Kolkata. The ships, Kolkata shipping, Kolkata, jewel of the East. Prabhupada was born at that time. Anyway, we're getting off the topic here. A bit of nostalgia. It's all falling apart. And what did they do after the beautiful British buildings? You see them down the main streets in Calcutta. And what did they do? They're just little tea stalls under the banyan trees. A few of them they maintain, but to just let them, Well, why is it they don't look up? They're just looking down. They don't look up. They don't see the British architecture. And the schools, they were first class. They're all British, all Scottish. They were Scottish teachers. They're even better than the Scottish Church was even more than the usual Christian. More strict, high moral values. Victorian England, very strict, moral values, and chastity, all of these things. And the poetry, the English poetry. Prabhupada studied English poetry. He studied English from first class English teachers. And you often see it in Prabhupada's English, written English. So let's read verses, we did one, so I think 2, verse 2 to 10, translations. We can go around the room perhaps, make it a little interactive.
Shall I read?
Yeah.
No, just reading the translation.
Yep.
The white and fat-bowed conch shell being gripped by the hand of Lord Krishna and sounded by him, appeared to be reddened by the touch of his transcendental lips. We see that a white swan was playing in the stems of red lotus flowers.
The citizens.
Three.
The citizens of Dwaraka, having heard that sound which is a threatened fear, personal fight in the material world, began to run toward him fast just to have a long desired audience with the Lord, who is the protector of the all devotees.
Text 4 and 5. The citizens arrived before the Lord with the respective presentation, offering them to the fully satisfied and self-sufficient one, who by his own potency incessantly supplies others. The presentations were like the lamp offered during worship of the sun, yet the citizen began to speak in ecstatic language to receive the Lord, just as wards welcome the guardian and father.
The citizens say, O Lord, you are worshipped by all demigods like Brahma, the four Sanas, and even the King of Heaven. You are the ultimate rest for those who are really aspiring to achieve the highest benefit of life. You are the supreme transcendental Lord, and immutable time cannot exert his influence upon you.
Excellent, O Creator of the universe, you are our Mother, well-wisher, Lord, Father, spiritual Master, and worshipable deity. By following in your footsteps, we have become successful in every respect. We pray, therefore, that you continue to bless us with your mercy.
Oh, it is our good luck that we have come again today under your protection by your presence. For your Lordship rarely visits even the denizens of heaven. Now it is possible for us to look into your smiling face, which is full of affectionate glance. We can now see your transcendental form, full of all auspiciousness.
O lotus-eyed Lord, whenever you go away to Mathura, Vrindavan or Hastinapur to meet your friends and relatives, every moment of your absence seems like a million years. O infallible one, at that time our eyes become useless as if bereft of sun.
10.
O Master, if you live abroad all the time, then we cannot look at your attractive face, whose smiles vanquish all our sufferings. How can we exist without your presence? Upon hearing these speeches, the Lord, who is very kind to the citizens and the devotees, entered the city of Dwarka and acknowledged all their greetings by casting his transcendental glance over them.
Now let's take a look at text number 12. Here he is, the Lord's arriving in Dwarka. Puri. Who's been to Dwarka here? Anyone been to Dwarka?